Welcome to another TNT Brit Wres special. Our guest this week is one of the most notable voices in British wrestling. He's hosted a podcast, been an interviewer, a ring announcer, a commentator for some of the biggest promotions in the UK, including TNT Extreme Wrestling, Odyssey Pro Wrestling, Lancashire Wrestling Federation, and just so much more. Simon Hill, thank you for coming on our show today.
What an introduction that was. I don't think I've ever been put over that well before. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And thank you so much for inviting me on. I'm super excited to be here.
I mean, I didn't even actually mention your radio accomplishments, esport accomplishments, TV hosting. There's so much to unpack, but we'll try and stick mainly to the wrestling. But I know Dan is dying to ask you some DJ questions.
It's jack of all trades, master of none, I think. I just kind of get around and do what I can. But yeah, no, ask away. Very excited to see what you guys have got for me. Absolutely.
Excellent. We are, of course, TNT. It's a Great British Wrestling podcast for Great British Wrestling, as featured on bodyslam.net, brought to you by Power4 TV. I am the host of Great British Attacking, Mr. Entry and Eating Most, joined as always by the co-host. He is Big Daddy Dan, Daniel Allen, just Dan for short.
I always jump in too early on there. I always you do that pause there, just down for short, and I always jump in. Good evening. Hello, Simon. How are you?
Hello. Very well. Yeah. Thanks, Dan. How's things with you? I noticed we're wearing
good.
Similar outfits tonight. Yours is more short sleeve, but
yeah, I feel a bit left out.
Well, I can clearly see Dan showing off the guns, some shoulder work going in there in the gym, Dan. Yeah, absolutely. Look at that.
I haven't been anywhere near a gym for about 3 years. It's all just pushing fat into different places.
You have great genetics, my friend. I wish I could do the same.
So yeah, I mean, I've read your backstory, and I know that one of the places you started off was DJing. And that to me is something that is always a big thing because I am a DJ. I have been for 25 years now.
Wow.
Yes, feeling old. In fact, I'm DJing in Birmingham on Thursday night, which is about 2.5 hours away, which is going to be a mission.
Oh, literally my hometown. Whereabouts?
Solihull.
Oh, nice. Yeah, really good crowd around there. Some nice bars, some good clubs up there as well.
Yeah, it should be a giggle. So what made you start DJing and getting in front of people?
So this all began during my Kerrang radio career, and Alex Baker and I were asked if we'd go and do a guest DJ set at a rock bar in a town called Walsall, which is just outside of Birmingham. And I knew very little about DJing. We had all the equipment in the studios, but I'd never really explored it. And I had a little crash course from Alex Baker one night. We stayed over. And I was like, okay, cool. So we did it, and we got to the gig, and it was just wall to wall packed, and people were vibing. I was like, man, this is really cool. So I was like, right, how do I do this? How do I turn this into something? And absolutely. I used a few contacts and got some gigs around Walsall and Birmingham and Wolverhampton, and just kind of grown from there. But it was always just a side project thing. It was just something I was doing for fun, bit of extra cash, nothing too serious. Then post-pandemic, when we came back, I remember getting back from Poland, where I worked for a month, and I was just getting booked right, left and center. And I was like, wow, right, okay, so I need to really evolve my DJing now, because I'm being booked for like the biggest clubs in Wolverhampton or Birmingham or even in Manchester and stuff. And I was like, man, this is crazy. So I invested in myself, spent a lot of money on new gear, and had some. So because with DJing, as you well know, you have to grow with the times. There are a lot of DJs that kind of settle and that's where they stay, but to be successful as a DJ, you have to grow with the music. You have to learn different styles. You have to understand the crowds that are coming through the door and be able to keep them there. And that's what I did. I learned new styles of DJing, sort of club or commercial chart house, to a really good standard, as well as bits of like R&B and that. And it's just, that was a learning process because I'd been so used to DJing rock, indie, you know, kind of cheesy party stuff, which is pretty easy to mix. And you know, then the big eye opener come when everyone's booking me right, left, and centre, and I'm like, oh man, like I really need to up my game. But I think it was just the vibe and the energy of the crowd. I mean, if we're both being honest, and it's a very self-gratifying job, isn't it? Because, you know, you're providing a service that everyone is really enjoying themselves on. You know, you get to see people's smiles on the faces because you're playing some incredible tunes. You're making that night extra special rather than just the, you know, whatever's flowing at that time. You're adding to that experience. And I think when you're DJing, I mean, my biggest one was 600 people, Boxing Day that was. And I posted something only a couple of days ago, a little clip from that, play Cascada. I never thought it would work in a million years, Dan, to be honest. Play Cascada every time we touch. And my God, that room shook. It was absolutely beautiful. But yeah, so I think it's just knowing, and I think it's like everything else, you know, you've reeled off all these amazing things that I've been lucky enough to do throughout my career. Everything's about entertaining others. And this is just another one of those that goes on that tree somewhere of being able to provide a service where you're engaging with others and you're, you know, helping others, you know, be engaged and have a good time. And DJing is absolutely one of those.
Yeah, definitely. I would agree with that wholeheartedly. And as you said about that Cascada, when you occasionally put on a song where you're like, oh, this is going to either kill it or kill it.
Yeah.
It's nice when it goes right.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. And yeah, I was very, because I can't remember, I played an absolute banger before that. And I was like, I am risking everything playing this.
Yeah, the one I did recently was I was doing a house session and I played The Weekend, but I hadn't paid attention and I was playing it at double speed. And it worked, and everybody loved it and thought I was an absolute genius. It was like, no, I completely cocked up, but I've got away with it.
I love that. And do you know what? Sometimes those are the little moments that really make the night, aren't they? They really do. And if you get it really right, you know, to a point where I did on that Boxing Day, they come across quite rare, as you know, but when you get that night where it doesn't matter after a certain amount of time what you play, you've got them in the palm of your hands. There is no buzz like that you will get anywhere else. And, you know, again, that is just watching hundreds of people or however many, even if it's 40 or 50, just enjoy themselves. And yeah, that's a special feeling.
So yeah, my apologies to everyone that's tuned into this wrestling podcast. But hey, I'm going to indulge a little bit. So thank you ever so much for that one.
No worries. Anytime.
Well, there's a journey and a story to be told there because, you know, that led into TV hosting and the esports commentating. So how did you kind of evolve into that?
Well, again, I was quite lucky as a youngster growing up. It took me a while to figure out what I wanted to do. And I remember listening to this, right? You know, I don't know if you remember Hi-Fi's, guys. You know, it's big, hefty things with two giant speakers. I used to tune into a radio show every single night without fail called Tim Shaw's Asylum on Kerrang Radio. It was on 10 p.m. till 1 a.m. And this was a very adult-themed show, very risque. It was the Howard Stern of British radio. And I was like, man, I really want to do this for a living. And I remember Tim used to advertise on the radio, look, if you want to come and see it all unfold, you know, drop us a text or an email or whatever, and you can come and sit in the studio and watch it all happen. Well, I was that guy who used to go every Monday and just sit in the corner of the studio. And for anyone who's listened to that show, it's one of the very few radio shows that could have had a full camera crew, because it wasn't just Tim talking about what people specialized in. He would get them to perform something on what they would do, and we would have to obviously paint that picture on radio. And it was breathtaking. I remember I didn't go over the Christmas period. I can't remember if I was like working at HMV or, you know, like a music outlet, the music store or something. And I got a call from the producer. She was like, "We're looking for a new runner. We know that you know the show. Would you like to come and do it?" And I was like, "Oh my God, yes. Like, this is my favorite radio station. This is my favorite show. And now I'm going to get to like work on it." And I just grafted really hard. I put all the hours, all the work in, and made good contacts, and ended up being at Kerrang for 4 years. Now, how that transcends into TV and esports is I learned from the best presenters at that time that were not only on radio, but were in TV. Tim Shaw now, I mean, presents Car SOS. And, you know, I was around people like OJ Borg and Kate Lawler and all these amazing people that were teaching me right from wrong. And absolutely, Tim was so hard on me. And I remember Tim called me when I was featured in a newspaper article about a year ago. And it was the first time actually we'd ever spoken that deep about it. And, you know, I said, like, "You were really hard on me, but I don't think I would be doing what I'm doing if you weren't." There was absolutely times where he would be screaming in my face because I didn't do it to the standard that he expected. And because it was the most listened to nighttime show in the country at that point, he had to drag it out of me. And he made me what I am today, absolutely. And I'll always be thankful for Tim for that. And then, yeah, absolutely got into the gaming world, and that transcended into esports. Unfortunately, my skills were appreciated, and I was flown over to Poland to host for ESL, one of the biggest esports organizations in the world. And that was an experience like no other. I'm pretty sure that I am going back this year, but even if that never happens again, that is a career highlight for me.
Did you pickle yourself?
Yes.
I have friends that have been to Poland and have come back literally having turned their tongues yellow with vodka.
The thing was, though, at that point, I was on a real health kick. I transformed my entire body at that point. But there were a couple of nights where, you know, the crew and cast would all go out as presenters, and I met some incredible people that are way more talented than me that have been doing this for a lot longer. And again, that was another learning process. And, you know, I'm humble enough to go, yeah, I've done all these amazing things. I've won awards, I've had nominations, but I can still identify when I need to learn and when I need to pick things up and when I need to evolve and grow. And I think that's what makes people in this business succeed, is that you're not too above yourself to want to evolve and learn from other people. And I will always be humble about that. And yeah, Poland was an incredible opportunity, and it was one that I intended to make the most of. It came at the right or wrong time. I was going through a lot personally back home, so that got me out of that situation for a little bit. And yeah, it was incredible. And I've got some other opportunities that I can't wait to talk about this year, working with one of the, if not the biggest publisher in gaming right now, who I had a meeting with on Friday. So that's a thing, and I know that's very vague and that's tease, but I am looking forward to sharing more on that soon.
Exciting. Follow Simon's socials.
Absolutely, yeah, and you'll see obviously Lance Rivera just trolling me on there as well, no doubt.
Once or twice.
Yeah, I could have killed him this morning when I saw that one. Oh my gosh, that's probably the worst one.
Worst one so far.
So far, yeah. There's no filter on that guy, so God knows what's going to happen when we clash at War on the Shore on the 9th of April, because we're going to be in the same building. They're going to need to separate us and put us in separate dressing rooms. So I have no idea how that's going to work.
Yes, well, those who don't know, he is the commentary team of Odyssey Pro Wrestling, alongside Kurt Johansson of the Kurt Johansson podcast, and of course your podcast as well, keeping it locked. How's that been going? I mean, we've checked you out on Power 4 TV. Very much enjoyed your commentary. I personally think you're probably one of the top 3 play-by-play announcers in my book.
Wow. Yeah. Well, thank you. You made a commentator speechless. Thank you so much. That's very kind of you. It's going incredibly well, and to work for a promotion like Odyssey Pro Wrestling is phenomenal. They create a very safe working environment where you feel a part of the family. They value what you think, they value your opinions and your feedback, and they always include the talent in the conversations. And I think that's so important to a promotion that just wants to grow and just wants to be successful and wants to enjoy it whilst they're doing it. And Odyssey Pro Wrestling have created such a beautiful locker room environment. Not just that, but they have knocked it out the park every show so far since launching in August, I think it was. You know, we're selling out pretty much every time. So it's very exciting. Obviously, the next event, 9th of April, War on the Shore, very, very historic event up in Morecambe. And as beautiful as Morecambe is, I don't think I've ever been anywhere as windy. I will get out of the car hanging on to my my suitcase as it's launching in the air, and I'm watching wheelie bins just fly through down the seaside. It's incredible. But it's a beautiful place, and yeah, I would definitely, if anyone hasn't checked out OPW yet, then obviously we are available on Power 4 TV, as you said. Every event going up on there. We do now have a Patreon where you can get all of our shows in full with commentary earlier than others, than Powered 4, and we offer a lot more in-depth interviews and all this really fun, cool stuff, quirky stuff that's coming. And I mean, again, this is Odyssey Pro Wrestling trying to give back. They're literally charging next to nothing, you know, to give you all of this content, just to give you an extra experience, because we appreciate the fans that really invest in us. People like Ethan Edwards, you know, the GM and part owner of Odyssey Pro Wrestling, is one of the nicest guys. Made me cry multiple occasions with his kind words, very unexpected kind words. And you know, he's so focused on the fans and the experience. And I think, again, that's where some promotions can get a little lost. So, you know, he's definitely he's someone that this scene really needs, and he's doing wonderful things.
He's also got a good eye for fresh young talent.
He has indeed. He has
Same
indeed. Yeah. And again, this is what I really appreciate. He's not just gone for the big guns, you know. He's not just gone for everybody that's getting all the social media attention. I mean, you look at some of the guys that he started to bring in, and, you know, even from day one, people like 2-Bit have grown into this relentless talent, and I could not imagine an Odyssey Pro Wrestling show now without him in it. I think he's really coming along. And you look at RPD, I mean, making waves up and down this country now. Phenomenal talent. Decker, you know, as much of a so-and-so that he is, he's a talent. He's reckless, but he's persistent with it. And again, I only see good things coming for him in the future. So again, you know, he's looking at that, and then, you know, you look at the women that we're having in: Gia Adams, Alexis Falcon, Tonga's our women's champion. I mean, that is phenomenal, because again, Tonga is one of those that has just grown and grown and grown and grown, and the more we see of her, the better she gets. And I think it's a matter of time until somebody really pulls the trigger on her.
She was at Progress, not wrestling, at the 10th anniversary show, and was having a chat with her there. And the sooner, you're right, someone pulls the trigger, they're going to be up there with Rio as best in the UK.
100%, couldn't agree more. And as you said, Rio's another one for me in the UK that the change in her, because she was on my first show I ever worked in Brit Wres, and the difference in her in nearly 4 years is night and day. Phenomenal. Again, a breathtaking talent to watch in the ring. She can cut a promo, and she's not scared to say what she thinks and how she feels. And the evolution of her in-ring ability is, I can't get over it. You know, it's phenomenal, as you say. She's definitely up there with one of the best right now.
When I saw her recently at the Progress, before the Progress that Dan went to, it was when she came out onto the stage, just completely surrounded in this aura that just said, I'm a commanding presence. I'm the number one person here. And she didn't do much, but it was there.
Yeah.
Didn't need to.
Yeah. And sometimes, you know, it's that's when you know that everything's clicking and how good it's getting, is when you don't need to do much, but you are aware of what's going on. You know, I think that is talent. You can't teach that. And, you know, clearly she's got something very special. And I think that's only going to get better.
Another guy that's been highlighted in OPW is local lad, Ryan Paul Hunter, who's just been doing so good and recently facing off against arguably one of the best British wrestlers of the last 20 years in Nathan Cruz, who we haven't even mentioned yet as being part of OPW recently. What about the evolution of that young man?
Oh, man. I mean, every time I call a Nathan Cruz match, I learn something new. That man embodies star quality in every aspect of what he does, from character development to the minuscule things that he does that you wouldn't notice unless you kind of worked in the business, I guess. And you just look at those things thinking, how do you program that, you know? And his in-ring abilities, I would say his in-ring ability is at least on par with somebody like Dean Allmark. Very different styles, but also the fluidity and the transitions and the moveset that he has and makes everything look so effortless is very, very much like Dean Allmark. And I think Nathan Cruz, as you said, is one of the best in this country right now.
He must have held a belt in every top promotion by now.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's
absolutely.
I guess North Wrestling NCL would probably be the only one left that he hasn't maybe won a title in yet. And that's only because they're new.
Yeah. And they're another great promotion they're on the top of the list at the moment. I mean, for me, Catch are on the top of my list to work with. Lovely guys, respect everything they're doing, get on very well with them. So hopefully, you know, I keep bugging them. I keep kicking down on Ben's door and just, come on, get me in, Ben, come on. But, you know, one day, I think that'll happen, hopefully.
Definitely one of the hottest new promotions. They were in our top 3 for new promotion of the year last year, just being picked out by Wrestle Carnival and all. But they have done such great work, considering they had that space between show 1 to show 2.
Yeah, it was a long time.
They kept everything and they kept themselves in people's minds. Is such a great way to keep in business as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they were going viral for cake. I mean, if that's not talent, I don't know what it is.
Talking about random things keeping people online, Nomad. Have you ever been along to any of the modern Nomad pro wrestling shows?
I haven't yet. I do have intentions to go because it's obviously a very different spin on the Brit Wres scene, and they're again pushing that barrier, seeing how far they can push it and seeing what they can do different. And I really appreciate that. And I actually do want to get down to a show and witness it firsthand. I do see everything on Twitter, you know, the videos, the posts, photos, but I would love to definitely you know, experience it myself.
It's one of those companies that Andy and I keep chatting that we've got to go to. It's closer to him than me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those ones. We will end up there having a watch one day.
Yeah. No, I intend to go myself. So yeah, well, maybe we'll go to the same show. Who knows? Hopefully.
Now, you've been getting yourself into a little bit of trouble. We hinted at it earlier at OPW with the Playboy Prince, the girlfriend stealer, Lance Rivera. I mean, he's a great looking guy and excellent in the ring. Why would you want to?
he clearly has some vendetta against me. You know, he claimed that, I mean, this all began at TNT during an Odyssey showcase match. And he could hear me on comms. So, as you guys know, I'm very projective. And, you know, I know we've been at the same shows before, but I'm very expressive and, you know, make sure I get the point across. And he could hear me on commentary. And I think I said something along the lines of, if Lance Rivera continues to use these tactics, then he won't be able to get anything out of this match. To which he responded, after he'd just been power slammed or something, you don't know what you're talking about, Simon. And obviously all the crowd kind of, you know, went mad for that. And I said something else, and he was like, no, Simon, I'm number one. And it continued through the match. He lost the match, and then he blamed me for losing the match. He, you know, said a few choice words that we shouldn't probably repeat. And it then went on to night 2, where we had a rumble, and he got eliminated by Ryan Hunter because he claimed he got distracted by me. Tried to make his way up to the commentary desk, was stopped by security. And it kind of snowballed from there. And obviously now back and forth on Twitter, he's just been relentless. And Ethan Edwards, the general manager, has had a go at him for his language. You know, has threatened suspension. But yet then I see he's getting booked against Nate Reese. And I'm like, why is he? Why?
Yeah, I met Lance at the Phenomenal Elite show. And he's a big boy.
Yeah,
he's a good 6'2". He's well built, and I wouldn't want to upset him. It's a bad idea to upset wrestlers.
Yeah, no, it absolutely is. And, you know, this is why I'm trying to avoid any confrontation, because obviously he's a trained professional wrestler. I'm not. So naturally, he's going to have the upper hand, and I don't want it to go any further than, look, you know, I've offered multiple solutions to this way. We can just sort it out man to man. We can have a chat at OPW, and just kind of get it all out. And he doesn't want that. He seems to just keep pushing buttons, and he wants a reaction. And I mean, after the one that he put out today, he's certainly getting the reaction, because he's really starting to piss me off a little bit.
Big Daddy Dan knows funny. How you feel.
Yeah, I might have upset a wrestler recently who's been a little verbal about it on social media.
Just 1, 2.
Oh, who's this? Have I missed this? Dan, who have you been upsetting?
H Hood.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And where did this begin? I'm quite intrigued.
I didn't know he wasn't a wrestler that had been on my radar, and I might have mentioned on the podcast I didn't know who he was. And after he won the internet title for PEW, he came over for an interview and humbled me. Since then has been repeatedly humbling me online.
Wow, you're involved in your own little bubble of trouble over there.
I just need to. He's a professional wrestler. I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm just terrified.
We've spoken to PEW general manager Jessie, and she is going to make it sure that it is arranged that Dan gets to interview Mr. H Hood at every PEW show going forward.
Oh, wow.
So, of
it's
course,
going to be interesting.
It was also Jason Joshua, the Big Daddy Unicorn, who you neglected to mention during a Fatal 4-Way, because he did a preview with PW Booker Lawrence Prestige.
You're causing trouble, Dan.
I've just got a big mouth. Right. One of the questions we always ask all of our guests, I'm going to jump into this one a little bit early because I'm really interested to hear your answer. We always ask, who would be your Mount Rushton of British wrestlers? Because they got Mount Rushmore, we've got Mount Rushton.
I like that.
Who is your top 4 British wrestlers? It doesn't have to be past, it can be present, it can be people that you've interacted with, just whatever it is that makes it for you, your Mount Rushmore.
That is a tough one. So I think you have to go with Lizzie Evo on there. somebody I've known now for 4 years and have a lot of time for, and we were, we're good friends, and she's doing incredible things, isn't she? She's again one of those people that really benefited coming out of the pandemic and just shone from day one and has continued to do so. And she deserves all the success that she's got coming to her. Obviously, the stuff with WWE she's doing now, and that's going to be very exciting to see where that leads. So ignoring what he's like in the ring, but I'm going to say this name because I feel like he's criminally underappreciated and underrated, but Sam Bailey. I think not only because he's trained half of the talent that everyone's watching right now and admiring, but also because if you watch him in the ring, the psychology and mindset of Sam Bailey, there's not many people in this country that have that level of psychology. And I do feel that's very, very underrated and underappreciated. So I'm definitely going to put Bailey up there. I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for that. But just for the everything that I've mentioned, all these wrestlers that are now really coming through, he's had a hand in training or, certainly influencing in some way.
That Gibson.
Wow. Exactly. And you look at the guys that are at Future Shock right now and that are there weekly training. Tonga, Lizzie was, Alexis Falcon, Big Guns Joe, just to name a few. Some of the new guys that are coming through, Danny Proper, they're trying there 3 times a week. So, Tony Wright, a phenomenal talent. Gorgon, as much as the worst are the worst, they're getting taught by one of the worst. So you can see where the influence is. So yeah, definitely. So Lizievo, Sam Bailey. I think I'm also. Can we have tag teams?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to say Kings of the North. Kings of the North for me. We can branch out to Britain, right?
Yeah.
Kings of the North are for me the best tag team in Europe. Have been for years now. Obviously, I'm very thrilled to see that my friends are coming over from Mexico, the NWA Tag Team Champions, Mecha Wolf and Bestia. That's going to happen, obviously, at TNT. And
title versus title now.
Title versus title, so that's going to be phenomenal. Obviously, Mecha Wolf and Bestia are, I'm going to be biased, obviously, because, John Mecha Wolf, he's one of my best mates. And for me, those two are another team that have benefited out this pandemic and shone. They got that opportunity at NWA and they took it and then some. They really showed up and they went, we are this division right now. And, they're getting flown over the other side of the world to defend those titles. So that just shows how good they are. But for me, Kings of the North, very dominant tag team, very, very good, a unit and very creative. You look at them in the ring and they don't even need to speak to one another. They know what's coming. They know what's going on. And you also look at the way they train and the way they fight. They always take things to the next level. They don't just settle. They've been tag champs of ICW, TNT, OTT, arguably the 3 biggest promotions in Britain. I think it's just progress left for them now here. And I think, I've always thought they need to be signed up because they're an incredible team. So yeah, Kings of the North, Lizievo, Sam Bailey. Oh man, I have one more left. It's a toss between a couple here. I think because he's one of the pioneers of the UK scene, both old and now returning to it, is Mark Haskins. If you look at when the UK scene first started booming, aside from, British Strong Style, Mark Haskins was right there at the top of every promotion in the country. He was champion pretty much everywhere. And of course, all the stuff that he went over then and did for Ring of Honor, but now he's come back and he's already a title holder at TNT again. He's going back up and down Progress, OTT. I mean, he's doing some wonderful things. So I think just for the sheer influence and what he's been able to achieve, Progress champion in the past, and wrestling the best in the world in this country and helping put this country on the map. Is one of the pioneers. I think Mark Haskins has to go on there as well.
His match against Kez Evans at ICW was fantastic the other week. And I was also lucky enough to see him take on Martin Kirby for FNW's last show. Oh,
yeah. I've only heard about that match. I haven't seen it, but I know it'll be on Powered 4, so I do need to get onto that at some point. But he is a wonderful person to work with as well. Very, very easy to work with, but he knows what he wants, and that's what he gets. He's very, very good at what he does, and absolutely, when you've put that much work in, I think you have every right to, kind of have your own kind of direction on where you want to go compared to everyone else, and I think that's brilliant. I really do.
So let's circle back to Mr. Sam Bailey, because you actually left off one of his newest, youngest wrestlers that he has been working with. And while you're a step ahead of Dan in your possible rivalry, is you've actually been training at the Future Shock Academy with Sam Bailey and a lot of the guys down there. When did it start? Why did it start? How was it going?
So this originally started purely for research purposes. I was like, right, okay, so look, I was like, I need to be able to expand my knowledge on comms and know how to deliver various transitions, and I can get a good feel for what it's actually like in the ring when they're competing, for me to be able to grow on commentary. And I caught the bug really quickly because I was training at Future Shock, then coming back and practicing everything from Future Shock at the Hunters Gym. And training under Sam Bailey is like nothing else. I love the hour and 40-minute journey just to train at Future Shock every week. And yeah, I caught the bug really quick. And I'd say what's been really nice is when you've got somebody like Sam Bailey that, is talking about the rapid improvement. I was doing sunset flips and springboards in 5 weeks. A lot of talent such as Leon Gray and people like that were there, and they haven't seen that. They were, I was putting together sequences after 4 weeks, and it's very different when you're in there. You do not understand how much goes into just something basic like a suplex, because a suplex is not basic at all. You think it is when you're watching it, but it's really not. There are so many things that go into it, and without trying to spoil I don't think kayfabe really exists anymore, but without trying to spoil the allure, I guess it's, there is a lot mindfulness that goes into just what you do in the ring and where you do it, how you do it, and obviously all of that has to be safe. You're clearly in tandem with your partner across the ring from you, and it's very challenging and it's very daunting. And I remember my first day into Future Shock. Before that, all I'd done was run ropes and did a couple of rolls. And I got in there and, Bailey taught me how to bump, front bump, back bump, flip bump, or everything in between. And I was like, right, okay, so we're going to do suplexes, body slams, and what was the other one? Suplexes, hip tosses. I was like, right, okay. And I remember I did one hip toss. Obviously, I didn't see Bailey's face, but I was training with Leah Raven at the time as well. Another great young talent coming onto the scene. And apparently I went for the hip. Well, Bailey went to give me the hip toss, and I just went. I basically just flip bumped past him. And apparently, Sam Bailey just looked at me as I did it and went, all right. But it's a huge learning process. And I'm really enjoying it. Obviously, I've had to take some time off due to injury. I had a very severe, unexpected kind of few operations that came out of nowhere. Spoiled my birthday, but so hopefully I can be back in the ring within the next 4 weeks and get back to it. I don't know if it is still for research purposes, but we'll see. We'll see where that goes.
I think for now it might need to be for protection from Lance Rivera.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I've Sam Bailey won't protect me from Lance Rivera. I can tell you that much. But the thing is I do know that Lance trains at Future Shock, and we've never come into contact there. So fortunately, he's going when I'm not, and I'm happy with that. But yeah, it's gonna. If Lance Rivera does keep taking this a bit too far, then obviously, I'm going to need to use this for protection. But again, Lance has got way more experience in this than I have and probably ever will. So I don't see that being an upper hand at all by me being able to defend myself, because he's still a trained professional wrestler with lots of matches under his belt and lots of experience. And again, my experience is in the commentary booth. So.
You just mentioned that you're also getting help from two other British legends, the Hunter brothers. I mean, they don't get talked about enough in the UK scene, really. And what Lee Hunter personally has been doing for RevPro UK, I saw him have a match with Shota Umino, and personally thought it was Shota Umino's best match he's ever had.
Yeah,
Lee Hunter is a phenomenal worker.
Lee, I watched. I can't even remember what promotion this was. It was Lee Hunter versus Dean Allmark, and it was the Hunter's ring, and I recognised I've rolled around in that. And Lee Hunter is an unbelievable talent, an athlete, and he's a freak of nature. Some of the things he does, your body shouldn't do, but he makes it look effortless. And that match with Dean Allmark was phenomenal. Both two of the best in this country, and I do agree. I think, Lee Hunter in particular, obviously Jimmy's took a back step now. He's got family, he's got a lot going on. I know he had a few niggles back in the day, and he wanted to focus less on that side of things and just run a business. But Lee is, again, criminally underrated.
Might well have been actually from Modern Nomad.
I think I watched it on YouTube, and it was a phenomenal match. The crowd are pretty much on the ring, aren't they?
Yeah.
yeah. That might have been Modern Nomad then.
Yeah, actually thinking about it, they did have I think it was the first Modern Nomad show back. I think that was it. He had a recent match against Scott Oberman I really enjoyed, because Oberman is another one of these young lads in that Northwest area, under Northwest Strong now.
Yeah.
Amazing talent. You've been hiding something, because you are set to make an in-ring debut at some point, aren't you?
Maybe, yeah. There's talk of it with a few promotions, but I am making a commentary debut in April with Kamikaze Pro. Very, very excited about that. As far as the in-ring debut, there's conversations, but I think I need to get back in the ring first and get some fitness back and get fully recovered. But very excited to be making my commentary debut at Kamikaze, obviously a home promotion for me here in Birmingham. They are another promotion that do great things, and I've been backstage. I know a lot of talent. I know a lot of people there. I've trained with Kamikaze as well. Marshall X, as some of some people know out there as, very knowledgeable, another great person to be under. And I think that's why I've been so lucky is, I've had so much knowledge passed on to me in just this short amount of time, from being at the Hunters Gym to training under Marshall X at Kamikaze, and then evolving that even further to Sam Bailey at Future Shock. I mean, and then whilst I'm at these places, I'm surrounded by some unbelievable talent that I'm like, how am I sharing a ring with these guys? Like, I'm used to calling their matches, but wow, like this is unreal. So, yes, Kamikaze, I believe 22nd of April. Sky's the Limit 8 is looking absolutely stacked. Charles Crowley is going to be there. We're getting, I believe Chantel Jordan is going to be going against Charlie Morgan, which I am very excited about to call a Charlie Morgan match, because I think she's unbelievable. A great talent. Chantel Jordan, I've called a few matches and I know Chantel quite well. And she, again, I mean, God, the girl's still, 19? Like, it's scary how good she is.
I've got children older than that.
Yeah. And then you talk about her brother, the Kamikaze Kid, he's 16, 17, and he's having full-blown matches with people like Doris, and holding his own as well. So, clearly there's something special going on in that family. So can't wait to see where those two end. But yeah, Kamikaze have, they're really up in their game this year, and I'm privileged, very honoured that I was asked to be a part of the commentary team. I'll be, next Colin, who's one of the owner of Kamikaze Pro. So that's going to be very exciting, nerve-wracking, of course, but Clint Margera is going to be there.
Beach ball death match.
Yeah. And again, another guy that I know very well, called plenty of matches. We've had road trips, and he's also a hometown boy down here as well. So very excited for that one. Yeah. I think promotions like Kamikaze, and I've said this before when I've been to the shows, is I feel they don't get enough eyes on them that they deserve, because the few shows that I've been to as a fan have been phenomenal. I mean, I remember I watched this comedy match, and it was with Mariah May, Hannah Taylor, Simon Miller, Warren Banks, and somebody else. And it was one of the funniest, but also one of the most enjoyable matches I've ever seen. I remember Simon Miller cracking a joke. Elijah was on the top rope and everyone was on the outside. And Simon Miller went, "Everybody shush. This is the Indies. Look, he's going to jump off the top rope and we're all going to catch him." To which that did. But because he made it so funny, the crowd went nuts. It was absolutely genius. And the women's match in that event as well was top draw, and that's what I mean. I don't think it gets the eyes it deserves. So hopefully, if I can be a small part of helping that change, then I'll definitely be invested.
It's certainly got the talent there, as you just mentioned some of the biggest names in British wrestling, and that's man like Doris, Charlie Morgan, Jay Warhorse is going to be at Sky the Limit 8 as well. So get yourselves down there. And do you think it might just been overlooked because of Fight Club Pro beforehand being in the area?
Yeah, obviously we all know that FCP, arguably ran just as well as Progress, to be honest. I mean, if it wasn't Progress, it was FCP, wasn't it? In the UK, that were the hottest promotions at that time. And absolutely, a lot of my DJing is in Wolverhampton, and Leah Raven's shoot job was in the venue with FCP where she originally started training. And when they're bringing in 800 to 900 people, and obviously all the following it had, it was owned by people who worked for WWE, and it had a lot of backing. So it absolutely did put a cloud over places like Kamikaze, and but that's no longer so. It's the opportunities are there for Kamikaze now, because there isn't really another big, huge promotion in the Midlands at the moment. Obviously the North is where British wrestling's at right now. It's the hottest place.
Now.
I'd love to hear your argument on this, Dan. But I think look, the majority of talent are from up north. I think all the promotions up there right now are doing incredible things, from whether that be Future Shock, whether that be Catch, TNT North are doing incredible things. You go further north as well, ICW into Scotland. BCW, they're doing their thing as well. So I think there's a lot up north. Obviously down south, we have Progress. They're doing some good things. Tidal are making their comeback as well. Tidal are south, aren't they? Am I getting those?
No, Tidal's Leeds.
Leeds, isn't it? Yeah, I was getting mixed up with Riptide, I think. And obviously OPW and LWF, in the north as well. So,
Wrestle Island. There is a lot of good, especially in the northwest, particularly. Yeah. I feel like the northeast is a bit there. As you say, North Wrestling and Main Event Wrestling in Newcastle. But where I'm a little bit further down towards more Middlesbrough, there's not really a big promotion. So if anyone's out there looking to invest in a new wrestling promotion, Middlesbrough, please. It's just like a 5-minute journey for me.
There we go. I mean, Middlesbrough is a big place as well. You can get some good fan base there. I mean, if you look, and this is what I say. You think about some of the big boys at the moment, and then you look at promotions like LWF, who aren't considered one of the big boys, but seem to be putting 230 plus every single show, and putting some of the best talent in this country on the card, as well as highlighting some of the best up and comers. I mean, it's phenomenal. If you get it right in a local area, you can really get it right. And places like LWF and Odyssey are doing exactly that.
They are, and I can't argue there are some amazing companies up there. But let's not forget some of the new up-and-comers down south. Like those unspoken companies like, Rev Pro.
Good point. I mean,
if you want to see Will Ospreay, where are you going to go?
The two biggest promotions are still London. They are still Liverpool. It is, as you say, it's Progress and Rev Pro are arguably the two biggest.
Yeah.
There's some nice little promotions around them, but they're held in bay by Progress and Rev Pro. Look at what's just happened with a promotion that had a huge following for years and just couldn't compete with the two.
FNW has.
Yeah, they don't really want to shout out names, but Fight Nation Wrestling unfortunately did recently close. But British wrestling as a whole.
Well, I just want to give a shout out to Jurassic Pro Wrestling, Ignite Pro Wrestling. I want to give shout outs to them. I want to give shout outs to UBW.
PEW.
PEW. That's Midlands. I'll give them that.
I'm
down in Kent.
I'm not happy with Nick Payne, because he was on my first ever wrestling show as a ring announcer, and as soon as he started this new promotion, I was like, bro, come on, let's get ring announcing. And he's like, okay, cool, and never got in touch.
But we've also got some great wrestlers coming up, like the Close Personal Friends.
Yes, yeah. There's, you know what? I think the British scene is, and I had this conversation recently. I think if it's not better, I think it's at least on par with the way it was in 2016, 2017 right now. I think we're at our peak right now. And I only see that getting better with these new promotions that are coming along. You look at places like Sov Pro, which are about to launch this year. Shotty doing his bits, certainly getting in amongst the pigeons as he often does, but that's going to be very exciting. PW, as you said, their first show was a hit So they're only going to grow and get bigger. And, there's plenty up and down the country, as you say, that are making noise. And Infamous are another one just about to launch themselves. So that's going to be exciting, and a lot of North talent involved in that. I think British wrestling is really hot right now, and it's going to be the place to be again for international talent to come here. And we've already seen some of that. Franco Varga spent many months here, as all three of us know.
Big boy.
Yeah, very big boy. And it's really weird. Me and Franco have been on socials with each other for a few years now, and we had conversations back and forth. He was originally going to come on the podcast. I think timings didn't quite add up. And then obviously we finally got to meet at a cat show, and then I got to introduce him at LWF. So that was a really special moment. Things come full circle in this. And another great moment at LWF, which I'm sure you guys are probably going to mention, is I got to introduce my best friend, and to see her get that opportunity and that reaction. And I'm not just saying this because of me biased, but because I could see her at the back of the curtain pacing back and forth. And I was like, I mouthed to her, kill it, and she did. She really did. Buckley Raven, she really did show up. And, look, she was in that ring on her own with arguably one of the best in the country right now.
Yeah.
And, she held her own.
She was my top pick out of the girls out. I said, I've never seen her before, never heard of her before. And yeah, I was just so blown away with what she was able to do with, as you say, the amazing Gia Adams.
Yeah. Gia is a phenomenal athlete, and getting it was one of those beautiful moments where the world kind of came together, and against Sam Bailey actually helped Leah get that booking, and she wanted to repay him by putting that Hurricane Rana that she had only. I think her and Bailey only went through it 2 weeks prior to that, and she wanted to pay a little bit of homage and do that to Gia. So, it was a beautiful moment. I remember announcing her, trying to keep my gimmick going whilst watching the pop of her come through, and I think I remember mouthing at one point, and there was a fan that heard me. I was so proud of you.
Got to say, for LWF, once again, A, thank you for having us, but B, that was a bloody good show.
Wasn't
Get on
it
Power
just?
4 TV and watch it if you haven't. It was the Lancashire Riot, and it was fan-bloody-tastic.
It was. And that Women's Rumble to crown the first ever women's champion was phenomenal. It was breathtaking from start to finish. Gia is an absolute machine. She went a long time in that Rumble, and very unexpected by the ending. Jenny, I didn't expect that at all, but no doubt she'll be causing trouble from here on out.
It was that number one contenders triple threat match. Nick Cutter, Sonny Durson, who we didn't mention actually from the future, amazingly talented young man, and Eitenstein. But yeah, Sonny Durson, incredible. You had the pleasure of calling some of his matches for TNT as well.
Yeah. I actually, so above every promotion, including the big ones, AEW, WWE, Impact, etc., I actually put one of Sonny Durson's matches as my favorite match of the year last year, and that was with Cameron Solis and Scott Oberman triple threat at Ignition Level Up, I think it might have been. May have got that wrong, I'm not sure, but that match was breathtaking to call. I think I even say towards the end that I'm out of breath calling this because there wasn't time to pause. There was no time to breathe. It was Mark and I were doing our best to call that action, which was hectic for 25 minutes from start to finish. And it was probably my favorite match of the year last year.
It was a good one.
Yeah, it really was. And, Durson, I think what was really exciting is Sonner returned to his roots as the high flyer. He mixed both the technicality that he's really renowned for these days and kind of brought a bit of his high flying back. And, he knew that he had to take risks to try and recapture that title, and he took every risk under the book. And of course, we all know what Cameron's like. He'll throw himself off anything. So, he needed to do what he needed to do. And Oberman, you've already mentioned what a young talent he is, and having the influence now of Northwest Strong, being surrounded by so many amazing people, he's only going to get better.
Now, with TNT, they are quite known for their death matches.
Yes.
Now, Andy is not a deathmatch fan. He finds them not his thing.
No.
I enjoy them. And I have huge amounts of respect for the wrestlers, even more so after treading on a drawing pin the other day. So I've got to ask, when you did commentary, do you get the protective goggles?
No, we're not that lucky. Only James Greenwood gets those. But they're a different match to call for sure. There's definitely different preparation that goes into calling a death match. As you both well know, they're very unpredictable. There's not really any script or bullet points to follow on a death match. You kind of just roll with it. And I've called some incredible ones, including Clint Margera versus Session Goth Martina. She came out as at Thrill Kill last year. That was brilliant. Probably one of the more physical ones, and I feared for both men, was Tyler Devlin versus Clint Margera at Extreme Fields. It was hard to watch at times. And I know that Clint, after the match, both men were in a bad way after that and were being tended to. So that was definitely one of the more physical. But yeah, I've been lucky enough to call some really cool death matches in the past. And also, when I first started at TNT, my first ever introduction, oh my gosh, was DOA January 2020, maybe, or 2019, I can't remember. And this was the one that Clint Margera won, but it was against Ricky Shane Page in the final. And so I remember, and this is my first show, so I was just like, what have I got myself into? I remember watching the match, and I just interviewed, I think, Charlie Evans backstage. And I came out, and Ricky Shane Page launched a light tube at Clint Margera. No, Clint Margera, launched it at Ricky Shane Page. Ricky Shane Page football kicked this light tube out of the air. Well, half of it just started coming towards me like this. And I've literally done this, and it flew behind me on the stage. I was like, oh my gosh, do I really want to do this? And as I'm helping Charlie Evans pick bits of skewer out of her face, before we go live with the interview, you can imagine, me wondering what I'm doing there. But death matches are great fun. I mean, Andy, you got to give them a chance, surely.
I like a classic hardcore match, but I like a very story-driven into a reason to have said
I understand
hardcore
that
match.
Yeah.
So like, if you just throw it away, they just begin to go a little bit meaningless.
Yes, but you get upset if people break the rules.
Yeah, that too.
Don't even get him started on tag ropes.
Tag ropes, yes. And correct tagging. I actually saw, after Chris Hatch told us that he wouldn't allow a foot-to-hand tag, he did. I saw it at the last show. He allowed the foot-to-hand tag, and I'm
I've noticed that WWE have got a lot stricter on that tag rope now. They're trying to make it a thing.
I'm just annoyed at Jonathan Gresham denouncing the Pure Rules of Wrestling to reunite with CCK, because I love the Pure Rules division.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. I mean, that's going to be interesting to see how all that pans out this year as well. Especially with some of the big plans that they've got going now. I imagine they'll probably go on tour towards the end of the year as well. Again, so I'm really excited to see what Lee McAteer and Martin Best have got planned for progress this year, and having Gresham as your champion, I mean, wow, what a statement.
If you're going to make a statement, make a big one.
Yeah, and they certainly did with that. And they've already kind of, ruffled some feathers and put their name, look, we're back and we're serious about it, bringing, from NXT. Why is my mind just completely... Ilya against Cara. I mean, just even the stare down gave you goosebumps. So very, very special things going on there.
And then there was the Bane show, the all-women's show, TNT all-women's, British women's wrestling as a whole, everything. It's so, do you think it kind of stems from guys like Zack Sabre Jr., Will Ospreay, and Nick Aldis, and what they've managed to achieve respectively outside of the UK now, and people go, well, if they can do it, I can do it.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And I think that's what's great about British wrestling now is, even people like Big Guns Joe are going over to Germany, they're going over to Italy. They're being flown over, and Mariah May, we see she's in America right now at CZW and various other promotions over there.
Just won a championship.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look, it's beautiful. It's incredible now that the UK scene and it's the talent that are being picked up because they're special and they're doing things, they're working hard, and we're finally getting to a place now where women's wrestling is part of wrestling. It's not women's wrestling, it's wrestling. And I think you got to look at, some of the names that are really leading the way with that. People like Lizzie Evo, Gia Adams, Alexis Falcon, Rio, and Tonga, all still extremely young. I don't think any of those are older than 24. I think Lizzie's still 21. Alexis is 24. Rio might be 25 actually, I think. Maybe. I don't want to guess that because she'll kill me. But look, they're all still incredibly young. Kanji back on the scene as well. I mean, what a talent and athlete she is. No doubt she'll be another one that'll be picked up by a big promotion at some point.
Returns for Alex Windsor and Charlie Morgan.
The
best to have ever done it.
Yeah.
Sky Smithson just knocking out everybody.
She's taking this place by storm. Hale Windsor, like you said, Alex Windsor, she's unbelievable to watch. You've got to watch her to believe her.
Mercedes Blaze, Heidi Katrina, we can do this all night.
Oh man, I love Heidi. We got to get on extremely well because she's a big Shenmue nerd, and I helped make Shenmue 3. So I showed her a screenshot of me in the credits, and I was like, no, I was part of the development of that game, and so we bonded very quickly over that. And then obviously I got to call some of her matches, and I know it's her birthday in a few weeks, so. She's another one though. She's like, if you had to create the perfect wrestler, Heidi Katrina would be top of that list. She's action woman. She's built like a star. She wrestles like a star. And look, you've got to be special if Meiko Satomura is hand picking you to come over to Sendai Girls. I mean, you've got to have something special about you, and she really has.
Yeah. She's doing so much around, not just in the UK, because she seems to be really quite big in the European scene. We mentioned it off screen, but Kurt Johansson and his Scandi grabs, she's been a big part of that in Finland and in Denmark as well.
Yeah. She's doing all of that. I mean, she had little stints in Iceland, like you said, Finland, and Norway, I believe. She's really taking that whole scene by storm right now. I mean, Body Slam seems to be her big promotion over there at the moment, and long may it continue, because I'd say what's great about that is you've not just seen Heidi Katrina from the UK, but you've seen a lot of talent go over there for the last couple of months. We saw Molly Spartan over there as well, which was incredible to see. I think it's brilliant that, again, the British scene is thriving with that much talent that, European and outside of Europe are going, we need to bring these guys over because they're damn good at what they do.
Andy, who was it that announced Clementine was going over this week?
So Body Slam recently announced that 5 British women will be part of their all-women's show on April 2nd, including Clementine. Heidi Katrina was going to be there. I can't remember the other 3 off the top of my head. But also Rings of Europe and their glam division. You've had Molly Spartan. Chantel Jordan literally just had a match against Alyssa Inc. that I'm dying to see, because I can imagine those 2 girls just kick the crap out of each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
In fact, I think I fantasy booked that one on my women's card, didn't I?
You did indeed.
And they use 20 by 20 rings over there as well. So, there's a lot more ring to kick each other around in.
Just, as you say, so many great talents. Aisha Raymond, who we wow, it's just so good. And if you could pick, let's say, a 4-person tournament, young wrestlers, who are going to be your 4 picks for? Let's call it a BWR have Youth in Revolt, Progress have Natural Progression. So if you're going to book something similar to that, who are the 4 guys that you really want to put in there?
Tom Thurwell will be top of that list. If I was to get into a ring, that's my number 1 dream opponent, Tom Thurwell. In UK British scene anyway. Heidi Katrina, still only 25, I think. Yeah. Tom Thurwell, Scotty Rourke,
Great choice.
And Chantel Jordan.
All right, then. So 2 women, 2 young men to compete against those 4.
Oh, okay. I'm going to go Nino Bryant.
Oh,
yes, I'm going to go Corey McRae. And then I think I shall have Evie Madden.
Yeah.
Good call. Yeah.
And who shall I go for number 4? Well, we decided they were the right age. I think I'm going to go Kanji.
Yeah. Great call. Yeah. Great call. That would be a great match.
Sounds like a great tournament. Who's any bookers out there listening? You've got a tournament set there by 2 legends of the Brit.
Very good.
Legend in my own boot.
Let's talk about Will Ospreay, Zack Sabre Jr. 2 years in a row now, British wrestlers have won the New Japan Cup. How massive is that for us?
I think it's huge. And I think what it does, again, it puts a spotlight on what the UK is doing now. We're not just a place that wrestles. We develop talent. We make talent. We make stars. We train the right way. We help one another get to where we need to be. And I think that's being represented all over the world, not just New Japan, but, the other bigger promotions. I mean, look at, we've just seen Regal turn up at AEW, arguably one of the biggest legends of Brit Wres history. And, he was also, one of the leaders of NXT, which in my personal opinion was the best promotion WWE put out. That'll be debated.
And of course we have Butch.
And Butch, good old Butch. Oh, Pete.
Chris Ridgway at Noah. Chris Ridgway going back to Noah. That can't be. So that's amazing. He so deserves this.
Yeah, I mean, again, another guy who's innovated and created in this country, and another trainer at Future Shock who takes time in his busy schedule to bring up the next young up-and-comers. And I think that's beautiful. And no doubt he'll end up back in Japan and, America doing tours and stuff. Just, I know that's something that he would love to have done again. So, yeah, you look at Dean Allmark as well. How hasn't that man been put on a major promotion yet? if you're getting people like Ali tweeting you week in, week out about, him being influenced by some of your movesets, you're doing something extra special. One of the greatest innovators, and again, another man that I'm very fortunate to have known and called several matches of his, and I'll forever be grateful for that opportunity, because again, you're not calling a normal match if Dean Allmark's involved. You're trying to make up some of the names for the moves that he's doing on the fly because you're just quite not sure what he's doing. But again, that's the mindset and the psychology that Dean Allmark carries. It's unlike anyone else.
Huge championship match against Dan Maloney, TNT Extreme.
Going
Off big time. So that should be an absolutely great one. Is there anything else you want to mention? What have we left off? CCK returning. Did you ever get to work with CCK beforehand? Either
I didn't.
Version of it.
I didn't, unfortunately. I almost came close to, but I started a bit later at TNT, and they were at the November show. I started in January. So very close, but unfortunately not. Hopefully now that this is coming back, I'll get my opportunity. I've worked with all of them apart from Brooks on a separate occasion. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens there. I mean, we all know the attitude that Brooks carries around, and no doubt that's not going to be any different when he comes back. So.
We actually left off what he's been doing with DDT Pro.
He's been really killing it over there, hasn't he?
Mm.
He really has. I think it'd be good for the UK to see him back over for a little bit. I don't know if he's planning on stopping long, but he again has just really taken this the last couple of years and run with it.
Sorry.
No, I was going to say, we were having a chat the other day about who do we think would be a good new member for CCK.
Ooh, that's very interesting. I'll tell you who I think would actually be really good if he turned heel, would be Cameron Solis.
Nice.
I think when Cameron plays a heel, he has that similar attitude and you can't sit with us, kind of vibe going on. And, he also takes liberties. And plus, his wrestling style kind of suits what CCK do as well, I feel. So I do think that would be a good match.
Andy?
I'd like Tom Farewell. I know him and Brooksy have got the history. I think Brooks put him over at Catch Pro Wrestling on his way over to DDT.
Yeah.
So no doubt he obviously sees a lot in that young man. So he must have only been 16 at the time as well.
Farewell was 16, yeah.
So I can imagine him wanting, and I mean, how old's a kid like us too? He must be
19, maybe. Yeah.
So many great talents out there in the UK scene.
It's amazing. I'd have gone Sky Smithson.
Oh, right. Okay, that's interesting.
I think they would fit in fantastically.
Very much so. Yeah, I agree with that, especially with that big kind of bulldog-like approach. Like you said, she's just knocking everyone out right now, isn't she? And doing some incredible things. Yeah, so I could see. I think all three are good choices there. Actually, I could see being a thing.
What do you think is left to help promote UK wrestling and try and get it bigger than it? For me, it is a lack of media attention. We're getting to see it with Daily Star. They seem to be doing something, regular interviews now with some of the top stars, which is good.
Definitely. I do want to give a shout out to Adam Callier for that. I mean, he's really putting some work into the UK scene to get eyes on the product and eyes on the talent. And if we get more people like him who's happy to travel to shows and to, look, let's have a sit-down interview. I want to talk to you. I've got some questions for you. Let me try and help, not just put you over, but bring eyes onto you and what we're doing here in this country. So absolutely props to Daily Star and Adam over there are doing some incredible things. And I do agree. I think it's media coverage now. And a lot of us out here are trying to get that out there, get that word and message and spread it out. And I think, look, we're not getting the TV deals and things like that over here. I mean, yeah, we've got Progress, ICW on the network. Have I missed one out?
WXW.
Well,
yeah,
no, it doesn't count.
Yeah. So we do have that, which is great. But Powered 4 have done some amazing things. I'm trying to help with that as well. Being what I called, I think it was Extreme Fields, the Netflix of Brit Wres. They've definitely had that platform and offered that out to the Brit Wres scene to help their product be seen and noted. And it's great that we've got that, but I do agree. I think media is now our number one focus to just get the word out there. We've got the talent, we've got the promotions, we've got hardworking people behind all of that. I mean, if you look at the social media activity now, Brit Wres is all over my timeline and probably many others as well. Even if you're not a wrestling fan, you're going to see something because of how popular and how big it's got. I believe the UK scene has made fans now out of who weren't wrestling fans originally because of how popular it's gotten. So, we just need to band together and keep working together and, eliminate ego and just work as one, because if one of us succeeds, we all succeed at the end of the day. And that's what I'm a firm believer in. I've been around locker room drama, and it's something that I think needs, look, things happen, we're all human at the end of the day, but what's important is what's going on right now. And what's going on is we're producing some of the best talents in the world. We are producing some of the best wrestling shows in the world, and we're building something special. We're building something memorable. And there are people out there, including the likes of Lizzie Evo, Alexis Falcon, Gia Adams, Tonga, Thelwell, Solus, and the list goes on, that are really leading the charge for us being the number one scene in the world now. And we can do that. We can be the number one scene in the world if we all band together.
I agree. I've been saying it's just so long. I mean, when we first started to do this, we just originally just band together to chat NXT UK between friends, and we were just like, no, we're starting to build a platform. Let's just try and do more and more and more.
Yeah,
Massive.
Absolutely. Yeah, couldn't agree more.
It's been a trip.
Yeah, hasn't it just? And that's kind of why I started mine as well during the pandemic. A lot of people came out just trying to build content, but it was more about, can I offer you the platform to talk about you, talk about your career, and still get people? If I can just help you sell one T-shirt, if I can get one listen that means something, or get a future booking, brilliant. Like, it's a platform for you, for us to expand. And obviously, I had no idea how much Keep It Locked was going to take off, and for that platform to become what it was worth it. And it did get a lot of eyes, and I was really proud of that.
Well done.
Thank you very much.
Anything else, Mr. Daniel?
Right. Well, I don't think you have a personal merch page, much as you deserve it.
Thank you. I do have merch at Wrestle Merch Central. Keep /Keep It Locked. There's a few designs. They're a bit old now and outdated, but I do need to get some more. But yeah, I've got everything on there, from towels to hats, mugs, everything, just everything. Wrestle Merch Central /Keep It Locked. So yeah, I hope you're both going to be repping some Keep It Locked merch in the future.
We do love our mugs.
You need some branding on that one.
It's got the Cruz written on the bottom.
I love it.
Right.
I've had
Thank
so
you.
much fun today chatting wrestling here.
Yeah, it
no,
really
it's
has
been great. I mean, thank you so much for having me, guys. This has been incredible. It's been a few weeks in the making, but I'm so grateful for both of you having me on, and it's been so much fun. Again, just to shoot the breeze, talk wrestling, and have a laugh whilst doing it. So I hope to see you both at shows soon as well. So thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
We've got Ethan Edwards on soon, actually, from OPW, so I'm sure he'll have more nice things to say about you on our next pod.
I don't know if you work. So Ethan writes notes in your paycheck, and you open the envelope, you get a nice note. Now, on the day that I travelled up to the last show, I listened to the podcast he did on Johners, and unexpectedly, he just ran this 1.5-minute thing on me and him. So when we did Extreme Fields, sorry to just go off here, but when we did Extreme Fields, Ethan joined me on comms for the OPW showcase match, and it was his first ever time doing commentary. Well, Ethan was the one that gave me my first ever commentary gig, and that was a moment. And I remember listening to the podcast, just he was just rambling on, and then he spoke about Extreme Fields. And when he started talking about having a front row seat, watching me do my thing, and how special that was, I literally started crying. I was sat next to Leah Raven in the car, and I was bawling my eyes out. Because when we spoke about this in the locker room, I think there's me, Big Guns Joe, and Scotty Rourke, is we just do what we do because we love it. There has to be a certain level of skill, of course there does, but the reason I do it is because I get to deliver something that people enjoy. And I don't go around asking for, that level of justification for what I'm doing because it's my job, But when I listened to that, I was, that level of appreciation, it really goes a long way. And I think it was an emotional time because I was just like, man, I'm trying really hard. I'm working super hard at all of this. I'm improving, and to hear Ethan Edwards, somebody like Ethan Edwards, just saying those words, I mean, yeah, it set me off pretty big. So, I think he's said all his nice stuff now, because I remember in that note for the last pay, I won't repeat the exact words. It was like, right, I've been too nice to you now. So, you're not getting a nice note. Here's your money. Get out. But yeah, what a great guy. Looking forward to listening to that episode with him as well.
I'm really looking forward to talking about. We're going to be War on the Shore, as you say, so that's what we're going to be discussing, everything that's been happening. So with that to look forward to, ladies and gentlemen, just remember one thing: don't feed the trolls.